Wanted to give an update on some of the active weather that we have moving across the area. We have numerous severe thunderstorm warnings and now tornado warnings that have been issued for a strong surging line of thunderstorms that have been progressing through Joe Davis County. These have had a history of producing damage. In fact, we have had some wind damage reported out near Dubuque. So first and foremost, I want to run down where we've got our tornado warning. We have a tornado warning out for western Stevenson County, and that warning will run. Let me double check my time on here. This warning for that tornado warning will run until 7:30. So that's just under 30 minutes. So that is for this line of thunderstorms. And we'll go ahead and zoom right in on this here for you as it's progressing and crossing over the Joe Davis and Stevenson County line. So the main threat with this going to be some very strong winds with this, but the National Weather Service did issue a severe thunderstorm warning initially and then issued this tornado warning. So what we're seeing are these little notches or these kind of spins and these little kind of rotations within this line of where we could potentially see maybe a quick spin up tornado. Outside of that, Stevenson County is under a severe thunderstorm warning until that warning runs until let me double check, 7:45, and that is for 90-mile-per-hour wind gusts. So this is a destructive thunderstorm. So even if you don't have a spin-up tornado, you are still going to potentially get some very strong winds. And when we're talking winds that are up over 75 to 80, even pushing 90 miles per hour, this is a very destructive thunderstorm. So if you are within that warning, you do want to make sure that you are seeking shelter with this thunderstorm. This is very important. And as I mentioned, we are continuing to watch for these little notches. It's not anything that's very well defined, but here just to the northeast of Lauren, and then just to the north here at West Point, and then even as you get a little further north there in Wisconsin, we're still looking at that possibility of some kind of little notches or spins. But even outside of that, we could potentially have some stronger winds along the leading edge of this thunderstorm. So I do want to put a track on this for you. This storm is currently moving to the east at roughly 40 miles per hour, I believe it was, excuse me, to 50 miles per hour here. So, and we don't have Joey out there. All right, so let's look at, there's another product that I want to look at with this because meteorologist Joy Marino is actually out in Kent right now. And it looks like he's kind of keeping an eye on this with us. So what we're looking at is where the radar is able to pick up and detect maybe something other than rain or hail in that. And it's possible that we may have had a very quick spin up. And also what I want to look at with this too, does not look like my velocity has caught up with this, but I wanted to point this out. So this little notch here right over 73, so this is across the Carroll and Stevenson County line, so this is south of Pearl City. This little notch in here is something that we are also paying very close attention to for any sort of spin or rotation with that. But the fact that we've got this little notch that has developed just outside of Shannon does have me concerned a bit that maybe we're trying to see something kind of spin up just a bit. And as I mentioned, regardless if we don't have anything like that, winds 80, 90 miles per hour are definitely going to be possible with this. Another area that we are keeping an eye on here is to the northwest of Freeport. So this is out towards West Point, and this is west and southwest of Wadham. So this is just to the west here of 73 and north of 20. Again, you've got a little more of a notch in that. And as this line of thunderstorms moves to the east, what we're looking at here is those notches becoming more frequent, and that tornado risk, or at least that isolated tornado risk, continuing to grow as well. Looks like the National Weather Service has mentioned that they are really watching this notch that is just to the north here of Shannon, something that I pointed out right over the Stevenson-Carroll County line. So if you are within this warning, the tornado warning, you want to make sure that you are seeking shelter. It's your basement. If you don't have a basement, it is the lowest level of your home. You want to put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. An interior room that does not have any windows. Even if, as I mentioned, you don't have a tornado, 90, 80 mile per hour winds are still going to do some damage. Let's run down some other warnings that we have here. We've got severe thunderstorm warning for Winnebago County as well as for Ogle County. So these warnings are coming out well in advance of where we do have the actual storm itself to be able to give enough of a notice and enough of a heads up. So severe thunderstorm warning for Ogle County, northern Lee County, as well as for Winnebago County until 8:15. All right, we have Joey Marino and Owen Zarley who are out. If we're able to just take that video, meteorologist Jordan Wolf is on the phone with them, but hopefully we're able to take this video. And I know, Jordan, you've been talking with them a little bit to maybe give an idea of where they are with this.
Yeah, so what they're looking at right now is a wall cloud that they are out ahead of this line, probably in Stevenson County, I would imagine. And they are seeing the potential for a wall cloud that at least looks very likely in the short term that it may be capable of producing a tornado. And this is kind of what we're looking at right now. And hey guys, where exactly are you at here at this present time?
So we were just traveling on Highway 20, and we actually are just west of Freeport. Earlier, when you guys tried to take our live feed, we did encounter a brief tornado just to the southwest of what was it? Stockton. Yeah. Just to the southwest of Stockton, we had a brief tornado touchdown, and we saw the collision coefficient drop a little bit towards that area. So we got caught under the shelf cloud, and then we drove onto Highway 20 towards Freeport, and now we got another view of a wall cloud that is approaching the Shannon area. Right now, we're just off of Highway 20, looking at a wall cloud to our southwest.
All right. Yeah, I mean, as you mentioned before, kind of going back to what we're seeing as far as any sort of debris signature, we did see that here on our radar as well. And as you mentioned, you're kind of watching this line. Is there anything with this line of storms, this particular storm, that is sticking out to you? I mean, we've got a good view. We saw you just roll down the window here. Anything structure-wise as well that you're monitoring?
We have to move soon.
Yeah, so we're going to have to move soon because the shelf is about to overtake us, but we actually did get in on some pretty strong winds around 60 to 70 miles per hour before we got out of the shelf and out ahead of it. This did have some pretty... Oh, I lost it.
Okay. Like perhaps we lost them as they kind of moved in position. So as you heard, he's going to get out ahead of that storm. These storms are moving fairly quickly at 40 to 50 miles per hour. So we do have a new tornado warning that has been issued here now for eastern Stevenson County, and this does include the Freeport area. So this is kind of where the region that Joey was looking at along US 20 there in Stevenson County. So this new tornado warning goes into effect until 8 o'clock. So Freeport, Cedarville, Rydot, German Valley, Rock City, Dakota, you folks are under this tornado warning. So this is for a severe thunderstorm, that is this storm right here, that is capable of producing both tornadoes and extensive straight line wind damage. This was located from near Winslow, stretching all the way down to Pearl City and moving to the east now at 45 miles per hour. I do want to look at velocity with this. So we'll go back here to where we have that tornado warning where Joey was at, and there is a little more rotation here right over the Shannon area. This is 72, this is 73, this is in northeast Carroll County, so watching this as well. If we move up along this line, what we're looking for when we look at velocity are little notches or these inflows where we're starting to see perhaps maybe a bowing out of this line, and then you start to get more of a transition of the wind. And so if we were to look at that right through here, so this is right over Wadhams, not necessarily anything that shows a significant notch, but this is west of 26, west of Buckeye, Cedarville, and then near Wadhams. So we'll put the velocity back on here with this as well. And don't necessarily see quite a little notch like what we had before, but regardless, if you have the potential here for winds that are 80 to 90 miles per hour. So those are destructive straight line winds. And with that, regardless of whether or not that wind is spinning or it's coming in a straight line, it is going to do some significant damage. Now it looks like we've got a new tornado warning that has been issued here for Ogle County, western Ogle County, and this is for the thunderstorm that was located over Shannon, south of Freeport, and it is moving to the east at 50 miles per hour. So this warning runs until 7:45. So we've got a tornado warning out for eastern Stevenson County, and now we have a tornado warning out for western Ogle County. The western Ogle County warning runs until 7:45. The eastern Stevenson County tornado warning runs until 8 o'clock. We did have a measured wind gust of 70 to 80 miles per hour recently northwest of Freeport. So again, those are destructive winds. So as this line now progresses through Stevenson County, entering into Ogle County, we have had a history of not only some very strong winds associated with this, but it did produce some damage back when it was out over northwest Joe Daviess County, out around Dubuque. So we've got a new severe thunderstorm warning up in Rock County. I do want to go up to Rock County because we've got tornado warnings and severe thunderstorm warnings out for Rock and and Greene County in south central Wisconsin. So new severe thunderstorm warning out for Rock County until 8:15, 70 mile per hour wind gusts, as well as penny-sized hail. Locations that'll be impacted with this, we're looking at Janesville, Beloit, South Beloit, Evansville, Clinton, Orfordville. Those areas, heads up. And what we see with this, we also have a tornado warning that remains in effect for Greene County as well, southern Greene County, and that warning runs until 7:30. So that's just about 10 minutes from now. Let's look at the velocity with this, because that is what the warning is for Rock County in south central Wisconsin. And so looking at this, there are a couple areas that have a little bit of an inflow or some very broad circulation. I'm looking at areas between Albany and Evansville. That's kind of where we're seeing the reflectivity take a little more of a notch inward. So right in through here, right along 104. So this is southwest of Evansville and northeast of Albany. So that'll be something that we watch as that storm nears Rock County in south central Wisconsin. We have these severe thunderstorm warning that remains in effect for Winnebago as well as for Ogle County, and those warnings will run until 8:15. So that's just a little under an hour with this, and the reason being, it gives you enough time here to be able to prepare for it as that storm is moving through. These storms are moving to the east at 40 to 50 miles per hour. So let's go back over to our velocity scan, because I'm noticing just a little more of perhaps a notch that is just to the northwest here of Freeport. We did have, as I mentioned, a 70-mile-per-hour wind gust that was reported in Freeport. So this is going to, again, do some damage. So at least 70, if not 80-mile-per-hour winds with this line of storms moving through. And then with that, you're also going to see these little spins or these little notches. And it looks like I've got a little more here, perhaps just northwest of Freeport, west of Scioto Mills, to the west here of 26. Now, I do have meteorologist Jordan Wolf. He has been monitoring things as they have been coming in. I do want to check in with him to see here if he's noticed anything coming in or has gotten any additional information.
Well, Candace, like you had mentioned, the 70-mile-per-hour wind gust that was reported in Freeport. In addition to that, the Quad Cities office also reported a 74-mile-per-hour wind gust there in Davenport. So basically, we're talking about this whole line, in addition to the isolated embedded circulations, the entire line capable of producing wind gusts, the possibility upwards of 70, 80 miles per hour. We had some reported wind gusts even in Iowa before these storms crossed over the Mississippi River, where some of those reported wind gusts were upwards of 80, close to 90 miles per hour. So this entire line of storms, not only capable of those embedded circulations, but also within that, we have those widespread damaging wind gusts, if not destructive wind gusts, of up to 70, 80, or even above 90 miles per hour. And the severe thunderstorm warning that is that does include for portions of Stevenson, Winnebago, Ogle, as well as northern Lee counties. That severe thunderstorm warning is also capable of 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts.
And it does look like that we have a new tornado warning that has just been issued here for Rock County. So let's go ahead and check in on that. We've got a tornado warning out for eastern Greene County, northwestern Rock County until 7:45. This was for a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado, which was located near Albany, near Evansville, which is just what we were looking at, moving to the east now at 40 miles per hour. So that is going to be for this structure right in through here. So where we see some very broad rotation crossing over just to the southwest of Evansville, right in here where our red and green come together. So this portion of the storm is moving off to the east now. So let's put a storm track on that. This is for northern sections here of Rock County, and that severe thunderstorm is moving to the east at what did I say it was moving to? Moving to the east at 48 miles per hour. So I am going to put a storm track on this so we are able to see exactly where this storm is going to move through. Now, along with this, we are also going to have some very, very heavy rainfall. So the risk for flash flooding is also going to be there, especially in areas that have been dealing with flooding the last couple of days. So with these storms, they're moving fairly quickly, but in the areas that have already dealt with some significant flooding, especially here across north central Illinois, it is not going to take much to raise concerns for that flash flooding threat to come back once again. So running through these warnings, because we have a lot of them for those that are joining us either on air or online, because we are covering this on all of our platforms. And I know that we are doing some extensive coverage with this, but we've got a lot going on. We've got numerous tornado warnings as well as severe thunderstorm warnings. So I want to try to break this down. And what we have are these tornado warnings that are embedded within these severe thunderstorm warnings. So you've got tornadoes and the threat for straight line destructive, straight line damaging winds. So we have a severe thunderstorm warning for Rock County until 8:15. That warning does include Janesville. It does include Beloit. That storm is moving to the storm as a whole. So what we're looking at, the storm as a whole is moving to the southeast. But within that, you have this embedded circulation that is now just to the south of Evansville. And that's where we have that tornado warning. So if you are in this path, you want to make sure that you are seeking shelter. I want to go back over here, because this has kind of caught my attention just a little more. just north of Freeport. All right, so going back to our reflectivity, all right, we've got this surge coming out with our radar north of Freeport. So we had a 70-mile-per-hour wind gust reported here in Freeport. We've got this surge, which creates this little notch. If we line this up with our velocity, we do have some broad rotation that looks like it is occurring here between Freeport and Cedarville. Just to the east of 26, you've got Henderson Road here, and then you've got Cedarville Road right up here. So right in through here. Also keeping an eye on this rotation here, okay? This is just north of Cedarville, right over Buckeye. Again, these are all moving to the east. So if you are anywhere within this location, the fact that we've got these little notches that have been showing up, you do want to make sure that you are seeking shelter. It's your basement or the lowest level of your home. If you don't have a basement, you want to put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. I also want to go down to this storm here that is moving through Ogle County. Right now, looks like we potentially have a wind surge with this right through Forston, right down through Polo, and this is going to follow here along 72 as well as through 64. So with that warning, we have, not only do we have a severe thunderstorm warning, but we also have a tornado warning with this. And this tornado warning is for western Ogle County. Radar indicated little spin-ups potentially with the thunderstorm and straight line wind damage. This was for earlier as this was near Shannon. Right now, this structure of this and looking at velocity suggests more of a wind potential. I mean, regardless, you're going to get wind, but straight line wind damage. So if you are in the path of this, you want to make sure that you are seeking shelter with this just as these storms move through. We have severe thunderstorm warnings that are also in effect for Winnebago County. Even though we do not have a severe thunderstorm just yet in Winnebago County, it is knocking on our doorstep here. So from Rockton to Roscoe, McChesney Park, Loves Park, this storm is moving in our direction. And the fact that these storms are moving to the east and we're starting to see more of these notches begin to take place, that spin-up tornado threat is going to be there. So I want you to stay on guard with this as this begins to approach Winnebago County. Now, I know we've had some updates. We had a severe thunderstorm watch that had been issued, and it looks like we may have Joey and Owen who are on a storm, and I want to show you guys this here before they have to move out. So Joey, where are you and what are you seeing now?
So we just passed the Freeport area. We're actually just off of Highway 20. We turned on one of the dirt roads, and you kind of see the structure of this line of storms. You got more of a shelf-like appearance to the left of the screen, and the circulation that you were talking about is actually on the other side of the rain curtains off in the distance there. But it kind of looks like we're looking at a little bit of a kink in the line or a little bit rotation just over the tree line there. And maybe we might be getting in on a little funnel where my finger is pointing. But right now we're looking at that Freeport storm looking to the north. We got in front of this storm right before the Freeport area, and we found a dirt road that got a nice view. But right now, most of this looks outflowy or has a shelf cloud with it, meaning that there's heavy rain and a lot of wind behind this shelf cloud. But we do have a good vantage point of the circulation you were talking about north of Cedarville.
Okay, yeah, we can definitely see that. And if nonetheless, even if we don't end up, let's say, with a tornado from this, as you were mentioning, maybe we're starting to get a little more of a funnel cloud with that, you are going to have some pretty strong winds. Now, there was a wind that had been reported there of 70 miles per hour there in Freeport. So you're going to see this kind of it almost looks like a spaceship, right? So you've got this shelf cloud coming towards you, and within that, as Joy mentioned, you've got these embedded circulations, which is where we see those notches at. So he was mentioning there he was north of Freeport. We've got a new radar scan here, and now the worst part of this, or kind of the concerning part, we're nearing the Dakota area. So we'll put back on our storm velocity, and we do have some broad rotation associated with this. So we've got the straight line wind damage and potential with that, with the storms as they're moving to the east. So 80 miles per hour or 70 to 80 mile per hour winds, but then you've got these little embedded circulations. So right now we're watching that around the Dakota area. So this is right along 75 and east of 26. So if you are, again, within that warning, which we have, looks like they've trimmed up the warning just a bit here for Stevenson County. So the worst of this is now out of western Stevenson County. It is out of Joe Davis County. We're starting to see this move further to the east, and it is moving through Ogle County, now into eastern Stevenson County. If you are anywhere, even with those severe thunderstorm warnings, you do want to make sure that you are seeking shelter with these storms as they move through. And I imagine here with this severe thunderstorm warning we have out for Winnebago County, we're also going to really be watching and paying close attention to that little notch. Now it looks like the tornado warning that we did have for Ogle County, it looks like perhaps that warning was just dropped for Ogle County, the tornado warning, but we still do have a severe thunderstorm warning. So nonetheless, you're still looking at that potential for 70 mile per hour wind gusts as that storm is currently moving to the east now at 50 miles per hour. So the line of thunderstorms located from Cedarville to near Freeport, so that's right down through here just to the west of Mount Morris, all moving off to the east now at 50 miles per hour. So severe thunderstorm warning out for Ogle County, severe thunderstorm warning out for Winnebago County. We have a tornado warning out for eastern Stevenson County, and then we also have a tornado warning out for Whiteside County as well. We'll go right back over to here because I do want to go down to the south. Northern Lee County, we have a severe thunderstorm warning. So this is for a far slither here of northern Lee County. This does not include you in Amboy or Paw Paw just yet, but it's this storm back off to the west that we are keeping an eye on. So we do have a tornado warning out for western portions here of Whiteside County as well. But we'll go back up to the north because we do have the tornado warning out for northern Rock County, and this tornado warning will run until 7:45. That is for this line of thunderstorms that are moving through northwest Rock County. Where we see a little more of this notch, or where we see a little more of that inflow, that's the area that we are going to be concerned with potential for some spin-ups. And this is not a pattern. Actually, that looks pretty decent. This is not a pattern of where we are going to see these long tracked tornadoes, but more so you get these spin-ups. Maybe they're 70, 80, 90 mile per hours, but nonetheless, we have that potential with these storms as they are moving through. So we're starting to see this circulation really begin to tighten up here. This is south of Evansville, so we're looking in Rock County right now. So we're really watching this circulation tighten up. I do want to go over to where we can see potentially if we've got any debris with this. And at the moment, it does not look like it. But this rotation is really starting to tighten up. So if you are in this area within Rock County, you want to make sure that you are seeking shelter because it is very well possible that a tornado is imminent with this. Okay, so this is in Rock County. This is northwest of Janesville. This is currently moving off to the east at 40 miles per hour. So I'm going to storm track this so we can look to see where exactly the areas that we are going to be impacted with this. If this rotation were to hold together as it moves to the east. Here are some of the locations where we would potentially see where that circulation is expected to run through. I'm going to check back in here with Jordan. He's been monitoring a couple of things. I think I'm going to have him come here and talk a little more about what we're seeing as far, and if there's been any additional information or any storm reports as far as what we've seen coming in so far.
You just want me to swap places with you?
Yep.
Because I can do that.
Yeah,
That'll work.
yep.
Do you need to take your laptop?
No, you can leave that there.
Okay. So yeah, this is kind of just run down what we have here at this present time. We still have obviously numerous warnings that are in place, and at least a few of these have been strong to severe thunderstorms, but also a few embedded circulations, as we've been mentioning, with those tornado warnings as well. A couple of our SkyTrack cameras, even I was just looking off in the distance, our Beloit SkyTrack camera starting to show up with quite a bit of that lightning off in the distance, as well as that structure there. I wonder if we can take that Beloit SkyTrack camera here just briefly so we can take a look at kind of what our cloud structure looks like there off in the distance. If we're able to take that SkyTrack camera on air here, that would be fantastic if we can at least get a look at that and see kind of what's going on with that Beloit SkyTrack camera there. Again, off in the distance, kind of still a little bit off in the distance, as I've been mentioning, from Beloit, but I did at least briefly see a flash of lightning there off in the distance that was beginning to show up with that storm. Again, this SkyTrack camera looking off to the west, and kind of a similar picture of what you're going to be seeing in Beloit, along with any other areas along and around the I-39 corridor. You're likely going to be seeing the skies beginning to get a little bit darker, but we're not seeing as much in the way of heavy rain and wind just yet. However, that is going to be on the way here in the shorter term. So we didn't see any lightning, at least when we took that SkyTrack camera, but starting to see those clouds darkening, and that's going to be a similar feature of what we are seeing not only here and along the I-39 corridor, but also some areas further out to the west. So again, let's run down some of our warnings that we have now. We still have at least a couple of tornado warnings that are out, as well as almost the entire line is underneath some form of severe thunderstorm warning. So within our embedded circulations that we have here, we'll take first a look north to south. Right now we do have that tornado warning that is in effect for portions of northern Rock County and at least part of Greene County, although I imagine that circulation now a bit further off to the east of that direction. So right now, at least, we're seeing this embedded circulation pretty close to the Evansville, Mongolia area. This is along Highway 14. It's going to be tracking kind of along, at least if it stays on its same track, on the north end of Janesville, south of Edgerton is where we're going to be at least seeing that potential storm tracking through. We still have at least a lot of that embedded circulation, as I had been mentioning. Let's see if we can take a look with our debris tracker, and we're not really seeing much in the way of debris here, but this is where it would be showing up if that tornado were to touch down. But at least at the moment, luckily, we're not seeing at least anything as far as that particular signature. Nonetheless, that tornado warning still remains in effect here for a little bit longer. That tornado warning for Greene and Rock counties still lasts until 7:45 tonight. That storm moving off to the east at around 40 miles per hour. In addition to that tornado warning, we also have a severe thunderstorm warning that is out for Greene and for portions of Rock County. That's kind of on the northern end of that severe thunderstorm warning is where we see the tornado warning, but nonetheless, the severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect until 8:15 tonight. That storm located near Evansville to Broadhead to Winslow, moving to the southeast at 30 miles per hour. This area of the line of storms along and just to the west of Janesville is where we are seeing the potential for up to 70 mile per hour wind gusts with that particular line of storms. Again, 70 mile per hour wind gusts, and that line of storms is moving off to the southeast at 30 miles per hour. So if we put a storm tracker on that particular spot of that, we will at least see 30 miles per hour, and that line of storms currently just to the west of Janesville. If we put it southeast at 30 miles per hour, these are some locations that would be impacted by this storm in the short term. We still have Newark at about 7:41 p.m. by we get to the town of Rock around 7:51 p.m. city of Janesville by the time we get closer to 7:57, near Beloit by 8:02. That's where we saw our SkyTrack camera. And then the town of Clinton by around 8:14 p.m. So this is still, if that line were to maintain its strength, at least moving at that speed and at that strength, those are some of the times that the storm would be at least reaching some of those locations. Some other areas along the northern end of the storm may also see some heavier rain, as we see even outside of that warning, a lot of the heavy rain that has been falling along with that. So those are kind of our northern end of our counties. We'll move to the south now and cover some of our northern Illinois counties here. We still have a tornado warning that is out for portions of Stevenson County. That particular tornado warning still runs until 8 o'clock tonight for Stevenson County. This storm has moved past the Freeport immediate vicinity, but we did have a reported wind gust in Freeport up close to 70 miles per hour earlier, as well as the airport itself that had gusted to around 55 miles per hour. So at least at the moment, we are still seeing that tornado warning in effect for Stevenson County until 8 o'clock tonight. Outside of that, we still have the severe thunderstorm warning that is out for that same line. That severe thunderstorm warning does extend as well for portions of Stevenson County that lasts until, that one runs until 7:45 p.m. tonight. And this is the line of storms that is capable of still producing up to 90 mile per hour wind gusts as of 7:33. So this is still a little bit outdated that the storm was located over Seward and was moving close to Byron. So we do now have a severe thunderstorm warning that still remains in effect until 8:15 tonight for Ogle, Lee, and Winnebago counties. So that is the next severe thunderstorm warning on our list. That one extends out to portions of Winnebago, Ogle, and Lee, as I'd mentioned. Severe thunderstorm warning there remains in effect until 8:15 tonight. That does include the city of Rockford, as well as some of our other counties and towns just to the south of that. But the entire county of Winnebago underneath that severe thunderstorm warning. At 7:40 p.m., this severe thunderstorm is located along a line extending from Davis to near German Valley to near Mount Morris to near Dixon, and that line moving to the east at 50 miles per hour. So this area of the line moving a bit quicker than some of the areas to the north. Nonetheless, this particular area of the line moving east, as I mentioned, at 50 miles per hour, and that storm is capable of producing 70 mile per hour wind gusts. So that is considerable damage if it were to indeed be able to maintain that strength. So we'll put a storm tracker on this particular line of storms now for portions of Winnebago County, as I had been mentioning. Put a storm track on that. Again, this one moving east at 50 miles per hour, so a bit quicker than the other line of storms. This does include a lot of this area here moving east, as I mentioned, at 50 miles per hour. So some rough estimates on where this would particularly reach close to the town of Oregon by around 7:43 p.m., Byron by around 7:49, Rockton by around 7:58, the city of Rockford, at least some of the downtown areas by around 8:02, and then Cherry Valley by the time we get closer to 8:08 p.m. And it looks like we now have a new tornado warning that was issued for our southern Whiteside County, so just a small corner of Whiteside County there to the south. So let's take a look now at some of our southern counties as well. We have covered at least those severe thunderstorm warnings up to the north a little bit here in the shorter term. They did at least extend or trim down maybe the severe tornado warning in Rock County, it looks like. But down to the south are Whiteside County storms, still capable. So the Rock County tornado warning is issued a new tornado warning for Rock County that runs now until 8:15 p.m. That storm moving now to the northeast at 20 miles per hour. So that severe tornado warning for Rock County runs until 8:15 tonight. Severe thunderstorm warning for Winnebago, Ogle, and parts of Lee counties runs until 8:15 tonight. So 8:15 tonight for the severe thunderstorm warning that does include the Rockford vicinity as well as Ogle and Lee counties. That storm capable of producing 70 mile per hour wind gusts. So now shifting our focus down to the south, and you see that the radar shifted so that we were now looking at our Quad Cities radar instead, but numerous tornado warnings along this line as well. A new tornado warning out for southern Whiteside County. This one runs until 8:30 tonight. Severe thunderstorm capable of producing both tornadoes and extensive straight-line wind damage was located along a line extending from Joslyn to near Alpha, moving east at 50 miles per hour. In addition to the tornado, again, extensive straight-line wind damage may be possible within that line of storms as well. This is just some of our southern portions of Whiteside County, but outside of that, a severe thunderstorm warning also remains in place. The severe thunderstorm warning for parts of Carroll and Whiteside County runs until 8 o'clock tonight, till 8 p.m., and that storm capable of producing 80-mile-per-hour destructive wind gusts, along with the tornado warning that is on the southern edge of that severe thunderstorm warning. And then there also is a tornado warning just on the corner as well, a different one from further behind. So this entire line of storms, one point or another, is now underneath either a tornado warning or a severe thunderstorm warning, with the majority of those storms capable of producing anywhere from 70 to 80 mile per hour wind gusts. Within that, we also have those embedded circulations. So anywhere that you see the orange and yellow boxes, that's where we have our severe thunderstorm warnings. And then within that, we have those red boxes. Tornado warnings are in place. So we still have a tornado warning that is in place just on the north side of Janesville for portions of Rock County, tornado warning that's in effect for eastern Stevenson County, and then a tornado warning down here for southern Whiteside County. In addition to that, the entire line underneath some form of severe thunderstorm warning, and most of Lee County, at least at this present time, not underneath any warning, but I would caution that this storm is still moving down that direction. So locations like Amboy over toward Brooklyn and some other locations down that way, just south of Franklin Grove and Dixon Sublet down near Paw Paw, you are not underneath any warnings, at least at this present time, but nonetheless, we have that possibility of strong to severe storms moving very close by here in the short and immediate term. And so I would at least treat this as if a severe thunderstorm warning were indeed issued for that particular location, with this entire line underneath some form of a severe thunderstorm warning. So again, we'll run down some of our warnings and what we still have in place. Tornado warning for northwestern Rock County remains in effect until 8:15 tonight. That storm moving to the northeast at 20 miles per hour. So a little bit of a closer look at that now. And it does look like we have at least a pretty decent embedded circulation there that does look to be passing on the northwest side of Janesville. So let's take a closer look at that with our storm velocity now. And this is kind of what we're getting a picture of. If not a tornado that is embedded within there, it is at least looking like it's a bowing out segment of some form, and that there is capable of producing some of those damaging wind gusts. So this is kind of the area that we're looking at for the embedded circulations, just in between Evansville and Leiden, south of Porter. This is along Highway 14 in northern Rock County. Some of these areas where we see these reds and greens coming together is the possibility for some of those embedded circulations and the possibility for that to produce a tornado in the short term. And that is why a tornado warning has been issued that remains in effect there until 8:15 tonight. In addition to that, the severe thunderstorm warning for Rock County still also remains in effect for a bit longer until 8:15, and that does encompass the town of Beloit as well as the town of Rock, the town of Clinton, the town of Bradford, Johnston, just south of Milton. So almost the entire county of Rock County underneath a severe thunderstorm warning. The tornado warning is extending just south of Fulton, but does include the city of Janesville, even though that tornado warning and that circulation, at least at this moment, is on the northwest side, and that storm is moving to the northeast at 20 miles per hour. So at least at this current trajectory, the circulation would potentially pass to the north side of Janesville as opposed to passing directly through it. Nonetheless, we still have those damaging wind gusts where the 80 mile per hour wind gusts are possible within the severe thunderstorm warning that does encompass the entire county of Rock County. We still have a severe thunderstorm warning that I have also neglected to mention out for Greene County, even though most of that storm looks like the bulk of it, the worst of it, has definitely passed on. But nonetheless, the severe thunderstorm warning there remains in effect until 8 o'clock tonight. So still about 10 minutes left of that severe thunderstorm warning. And the storm there capable of producing 70 mile per hour wind gusts moving east at 25 miles per hour. Again, now down to the south, we get a little bit of a closer look at some of our embedded circulations within here as well, and kind of a pretty good picture of what we are seeing with some of these embedded circulations as well. Just even on the east side of Stevenson County, now passing pretty close into western Winnebago County, we have this area of embedded rotation that may be possible to produce a tornado. We don't have a tornado warning that is out for Winnebago County and immediate vicinities, but it does look like we also have an embedded circulation here that is near Byron and Davis Junction that may be possible of producing a tornado as well. So nonetheless, even though if you are not underneath any of those tornado warnings, you would like to treat these as if they were tornado warnings, because any of these severe thunderstorm warnings are capable of spinning up a very quick, a very brief tornado, even in the shorter term, and therefore we still need to at least keep a closer eye on that. At least as far as our county is close to and to the east of I-39. At this present time, our strongest wind gust that we have seen was around 40 miles per hour out of Dixon. But I know that we've seen some extensive wind out to the west of that as well.
Yeah, we just got a new severe thunderstorm warning out for Whiteside County. That will run until 8:45. 80 mile per hour wind gusts going to be the biggest hazard with that. So we're starting to see these thunderstorms move a little bit further here into north central Illinois. And you were mentioning and pointing out some little spins or areas of rotation kind of along the leading edge. Not necessarily saying that these are going to produce a tornado with that, but that threat is there. So the active tornado warnings that we have right now out for Whiteside County as well as for Rock County, and I would say that storm in Rock County has more of an imminent threat with it, with that broad rotation. So far, we have not received very many reports, although I will say that there was a measured wind gust of 93 miles per hour back out in Lena as that storm was moving through. So this line of thunderstorms has a pretty significant history here of producing some damaging winds. A lot of times with this, we see these damage reports that come in after the line has passed. Sometimes they're slow to kind of trickle in, but with that, as this storm progresses to the east, you've got at least a 70-80 mile per hour wind gust that'll be possible along the leading edge. I know a couple of folks have been mentioning that they've lost power down in Ogle County. We've got the warning that is still out for Ogle County, the severe thunderstorm warning. There are 3 active tornado warnings. However, I would say that warning that is currently in eastern Stevenson County, the worst has passed now to your east. And I want to, kind of stress this. We, outside of what Joey said back out southwest of Stockton where he was, we have not had any confirmed tornadoes with this. All of this has been radar indicated rotation, but you can see the surging of this line as it is moving through. So far, we've had a wind gust, let me double check this here, down in Dixon that has been on the order of 40 miles per hour. So we're continuing to kind of watch the potential along the leading edge of this squall line as it's approaching Winnebago, western Winnebago County down through Oregon. There's been a little bit of kind of a speed surge with that, and I want to look at this a little closer here. You might have been looking just what I was looking at too, with that. So you've got there south of Winnebago, right near the Ogle Winnebago County line, but then you also have what we're looking at here near Byron. So we've got severe thunderstorm warnings that are currently in effect for Winnebago County as well as for Ogle County. But what Jordan was mentioning here along this leading edge, we're starting to notice these circulations. So this is right here, right along 72 in north central Ogle County. You've got winds that are moving away from the radar, and then you have winds that are moving towards the radar. So that's where you've got this broad rotation. We're also looking at here just to the south of Winnebago in itself, and it looks like we've got a new tornado warning that has just been issued here now for Winnebago County as well as for northern Ogle County, and that is going to be for the these warnings, these circulations that we see right here, just to the south of Winnebago, and then just to the north here of in northern Ogle County. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to step off here, and it looks like that tornado warning is also in effect for Boone County. If you are in this area, you need to make sure that you are seeking shelter immediately with this storm. So it looks like we've got some of our alerts that are going off on our phone here. I want to take Joey. If you guys are able to talk to him, looks like he's got a pretty decent view. Joey, can you hear me? I know Owen is calling us. Can you hear me, Joey?
Yes, I can hear you, Candace.
Okay, give me an idea of where you're at and what you're looking at here.
So we actually just passed the station. We are on Meridian, right by the interchange of Highway 20 and Meridian, and we're looking to our southwest towards the circulation that is in between New Milford and Winnebago. As you can see, we do have some pretty nice supercellular structure here. We have the main wall cloud that's right over the top of the tree line there. Here you have a little bit of inflow or warm, moist air going into the storm. And as you can tell, there's a lot of lightning as well as the storm approaches the interchange here. We haven't really seen anything make its way to the ground just yet, but we have seen some rapid motion, and the tornado sirens are just going off, as you can hear.
Yeah, we can actually hear them there through your phone. So with the through the phone here. So want to reiterate, we've got a tornado warning for Winnebago County, for northern Ogle County, as well as for Boone County. So I want to stress with this that the potential is there for fast-moving, rain-wrapped tornadoes, along with the potential for straight line wind damage. This is actually coming pretty close to the station. So it is very well possible that we may just have to leave our radar up and go take our tornado precautions. We'll continue to monitor this, but let's bring this with this. Now, you've got a good vantage point. Can you reiterate again where you are, Joey, with this storm?
Joey, say where we're at with the storm.
So we are right now.
Tornado about to be on the ground.
Yeah, we have this funnel cloud that's about halfway to the ground. We are right next to the baseball fields on Meridian, and right next to the old gas station. The old Meridian gas station is right here to my left. But you can kind of see that there is a funnel cloud halfway towards the ground here with the storm as it tracks to our southwest. Again, we haven't seen any touchdowns, and it looks like the funnel cloud has lifted. But we might have another attempt at tornado genesis right over the tree line there.
Okay, so you are looking at this. This is just to the west and southwest here of Rockford. So you are along Meridian. We've got the Meridian implement there. You've got the baseball field as well. Looks like, okay, so you could actually see a little bit of that funnel coming down. So this is what we're looking at, guys, right here. So this is approaching Cunningham Road. So Joey was positioned here on Meridian Road. This is where he was positioned. So he was just north of 20. He was positioned on Meridian Road looking off to the southwest. This is what he was looking at. If you were watching that, you actually saw that funnel cloud come down. You can hear the tornado sirens going off too. So this is right here through Cunningham. This is south of Winnebago. All right. And so the town of Winnebago in western Winnebago County. All right. We've got a new tornado warning that has been issued. So you saw how fast that came down and potentially how fast that lifted up as well. So you do want to make sure that you are seeking shelter if you are in this path. Rockford, you want to make sure that you are in your shelter with this. Same thing down here in northern Ogle County. I don't know if, Jordan, we can put on our reflectivity with this, because again, this is coming here pretty close to the station, or will be coming fairly close. The rotation, so we've got here just in southwest portion of Winnebago County. So let's zoom in a little closer on this so we can get some good vantage points as well as what we're looking at as far as those roads are concerned. So here we are with Meridian Road. Here's 2. You're looking at the bypass that goes up here. So Meridian, Montague, we've got broad rotation with this. We saw this as the storm was moving through. So we are located here a little bit further north on Meridian. Do you have some information as to the track or how fast the storm is moving, Jordan?
I can look real fast.
Okay.
Give me 1 second.
So if you are anywhere within this warning, tornado warning, you want to make sure that you are seeking shelter. We saw here with Joey's live feed that there was a pronounced funnel and a possible tornado that was coming down before it lifted. So as I mentioned before, the possibility of these fast moving rain-wrapped tornadoes is very well possible along with these straight line winds. So you want to heed this warning. Your basement, if you don't have a basement, it is the lowest level of your home. Interior room, closet, bathroom, something that does not have windows, you want to put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. Protect your head, grab a helmet, pillow, blankets, something that you are able to protect yourself with, because we have this circulation that is starting to tighten up just a little bit here. This is Montague Road, and this is south of Edwardsville Road as well. Jordan, do you want to give us a track on this?
Yeah, so that storm moving east at 55 miles per hour, it does look like if I would take this velocity back, it looks like the circulation itself might be a little bit more of a north or east to northeast track, but nonetheless the storm itself moving east. So we will go ahead and put a storm tracker on just this circulation here as if it were moving east at 55 miles per hour. And so again, as you mentioned, Candace, this storm pretty close to Montague and Meridian here right now. And if it were moving east at around 55 miles per hour, this is just some locations that it would be at within kind of the next little window here very shortly near Evergreen School, just at around 8:04 p.m. Marinelli Field by the time we get close to around 8:06 downtown Rockford. When we get closer to 8:08 p.m., similar to that for the Swedish American Hospital. And then the Bloom Elementary School, C. Henry Bloom Elementary School, closer to 8:10 p.m. So if you notice any of those locations and you know that you are near any of those locations, we want to urge you to seek shelter, as this storm, as Joey had shown with his live view, was imminent of producing a tornado even in a pretty short window, as we did have that funnel cloud that was about halfway down to the ground before it had lifted again. And as we've been talking about, this whole line of storms, if it were to produce a tornado, it would be a very quick spin up and it would likely not be on the ground for very long, but nonetheless it would still be able to produce damage even within that window that it was on the ground. And if you can see almost this entire line, we have just in between Winnebago and Rockford, there's a little bit of a circulation there. We have another little bit of a circulation near New Milford. We have another one down close to Scott. We have another one in between White Rock and Linville. This whole line producing at least some variations of the possibility of some of these circulations. And with those circulations, the National Weather Service did go ahead and issue that tornado warning that remains in effect for all of Boone, almost all of Boone County, for northeastern Ogle County, as well as much of Winnebago County. And that tornado warning runs until 8:30 tonight. In addition to that, we also have a severe thunderstorm warning that remains in effect across the region as well.
I'm wondering, this is getting pretty close here to the station, at least for that circulation. If we should probably kind of get into our safe place.
It wouldn't be a completely bad idea to do so. We can go ahead and we will put this on radar. Hopefully we should be able to talk through things. They hopefully should be able to theoretically keep our microphones open, I would hope.
Yeah, we can. So, Cole, what I want you to do is I want you to go into the newsroom, tell the folks that are in there to get into that small conference room, kind of huddle down just a bit. The guys back in the control room, I want you guys to do the same thing. The wind is starting to pick up just a bit here at the station, so I do not necessarily want us to be in this studio, because even if we do not have a tornado, we are still looking at the potential here for at least 80-mile-per-hour winds to come through. So we've got our radar up. If you are anywhere here near the station, as soon as this passes, we are going to come back on. Hopefully we do not lose power with this, but again, if you've got a little bit of a circulation as that is passing through. So we've got the radar on. We are going to keep our microphones on, so I need everybody to understand that our microphones are hot here at the moment. But if you are anywhere within the Rockford, Belvedere area, Monroe Center, anywhere within this location where we have that tornado warning, I do need you guys to seek shelter. Your basement, it's the lowest level of your home, interior room, put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. So we are going to talk through this as we kind of work through and get into our tornado shelter. And then as soon as this passes, which looks like it is on the verge of passing, so that is some good news. And hopefully you guys will still be able to hear us. We've got the radar on as this goes through. We're keeping an eye on this as we kind of go through here. And as I mentioned, if you don't have any, even an imminent tornado with this, you still could potentially have some strong winds on the order of 80 miles per hour. So we are continuing to monitor this as the storm is progressing through. But once again, we do have a tornado warning that remains in effect here for eastern portions and central portions of Winnebago County, as well as for Boone County, as well as for northern Ogle County, and that warning will run until Jordan, you may have to help me out.
Which warning are you looking for?
So until the Winnebago, Boone, and
Tornado warning runs until 8:30.
Thank you, 8:30. Yep. So this was the line of thunderstorms moving to the east at 45 miles per hour. This is radar indicated. I want to stress this again, this is radar indicated. However, when we were on with Joey, we did see perhaps a funnel with this.
Yes, and it was a funnel that he had noticed that was very close to bypass 20 and Meridian, and that storm now obviously moving a bit further to the east of that, so it is approaching the downtown Rockford area here in the very short term. Again, pretty much this entire line of storms capable of producing at least a brief spin-up tornado. Downtown Rockford now, you have a wall of rain and wind on your doorstep. The possibility of winds up to 80 miles per hour approaching there in the very short term. In addition to that, we also have that potential for brief funnel clouds, brief spin-up tornadoes. It does at least appear that we are taking some minor form of power hits here at the station, likely going to be the same for many across the state line as well, with some of these damaging wind gusts.
Yeah, and it looks like kind of we're approaching here as far as where the worst of this thunderstorm is now located. It is right over the Rockford area. Actually, right over Rockford is where we have a little more of this notch. You've got a surging line that is also noted down here in Ogle County, and now approaching the DeKalb County line. Looking at velocity here, there is a little bit of a notch that looks like we are just to the northwest of Monroe Center, where we may have some very broad rotation. And the rotation that we noted here doesn't look quite as imminent, I think, is what we were looking at about 10-15 minutes ago.
So
that's
one
good.
Over downtown Rockford, at least the circulation that we were looking at, as you mentioned, does not look quite as imminent as you had previously we'd noted. But now we are kind of shifting the focus a little bit, as we've been noting the entire line of storms capable of producing even brief spin-up tornadoes. So we do have that storm that is near New Milford right now, at least the possibility that we are seeing a little bit of that circulation there. New Milford is just on the south side of Rockford, right almost along the line between Winnebago and Ogle counties. Even just south of that, we have another little circulation trying to show up in between Davis Junction and Monroe Center, and that is another area where we have the potential for at least brief circulations. This whole line moving to the east, generally speaking, at about 50 to 55 miles per hour. So even any of you out in Boone County, you have had a lot of time to kind of prepare and get ahead of this, but now your time is running out. If you are out close to Boone County, the storm is going to be approaching that Winnebago-Boone County line here very, very shortly, and it will be approaching that region and will start to move into Boone County. And so if you are within Boone County now and you've been outside potentially maybe taking a look at the clouds, you probably not have much time to do that anymore, and now it is time to go ahead and start to seek your shelter.
And I do want to mention, it looks like we've got a new tornado warning that has now just been issued here for DeKalb as well as for Ogle County. So let me look at this. The National Weather Service, we've issued
8:45.
8:45. That warning will run till southeastern Ogle County as well as northern DeKalb County. So this is for the thunderstorm that is moving through Ogle County currently and moving into DeKalb County. So if you are within this warning, this includes all of northern DeKalb County. All right, looks like that worst of that storm has passed through. So we are going to go ahead and get back into the studio now. I think it's probably safe to do so.
Yeah, I would say
that
so.
circulation,
For us here.
yeah, has passed through, at least for us. Okay, so we are going to head back into our studio. The guys back in the control room will come on back, and then we will let the news folks go back into the newsroom as well. But we've got a new tornado warning for southeastern Ogle County as well as for northern DeKalb County until 8:45. Severe thunderstorm capable of producing both tornadoes as well as extensive straight line wind damage. We're located near Davis Junction, or 9 miles southeast of the airport, moving to the east at 40 miles per hour. Again, this is radar indicated, so some of the areas that are included within this warning, we are looking at Kirkland, Fairdale, Kingston, Genoa, DeKalb, Esmond, anywhere there where you see that red box, that is for this line of thunderstorms that is currently moving to the east at about 40 to 45 miles per hour. Let me make sure I get that, to the east at 40 miles per hour. And again, this is radar indicated rotation with this.
Right, and I also want to note, now that we are back in our studio, we can kind of zoom in a little bit more at our at some of our velocity pictures here, and I do want to take a little bit of a closer look now. They did end up extending that tornado warning on the southern end of that, likely because they had noticed a lot of these notches that we've been pointing out here along this line, even in the shorter term. A lot of this has now passed the I-39 corridor or is along I-39, especially across portions of Winnebago County. So anyone driving along I-39 going to be experiencing some of this very, very heavy rain here in the short term as well. And I do want to note some of these little circulations that we are seeing. This along the entire line, kind of near I-39 corridor, we have a little circulation close to New Milford, another one near Monroe, and then another one close to Linville as well. A lot of these circulations where we see kind of this jagged edge to this line of thunderstorms, that's where we have the potential, at least the possibility, of producing or a brief spin-up tornado even in that shorter term. So that severe thunderstorm, or the tornado warning there for parts of DeKalb County as well as Ogle County, that still runs until 8:45 tonight. Yep, 8:45 tonight. And the verbiage on that severe thunderstorm as of 8:08 was capable of producing both tornadoes, extensive straight line wind damage, located near Davis Junction at that time, or 9 miles southeast of the Rockford Airport, and it was moving east at around 40 miles per hour. So let's go ahead and put a storm tracker on the bulk of this line here, and we will take a bit of a closer look at what that line shows, and then I will go ahead and have Candace, once we get that, I'll have you kind of call out some of the names of those towns once we get it. So this is moving to the east at 40 miles per hour, and again, we'll draw this line here, pretty much this entire line that is now along the east edge of the I-39 corridor, and it's pretty much, for the most part, all moving east at around 40 miles per hour. So these are at least a few of those locations, and I'll have Candace kind of point out those, and then we can also show those as well with Max 1 on the 3x3 if we are able to do that.
Yeah, so you're looking at some areas here that are going to be impacted potentially, at least with the strong and destructive straight line winds. We had winds gusting close to 60 miles per hour here at the station as that storm was moving through. So Belvedere just a little after 8:15. So really within the next few minutes, DeKalb and Sycamore down here in central DeKalb County, you guys also are under that tornado warning. Harvard, if this were to hold together, this is in northwest McHenry County, and then Hampshire, which is outside of the area, which is in Kane County. Now, Jordan, I do want to go a little closer here to where we have that notch with that storm, as it's just to the east now of Rockford and in between Rockford and Belvedere. So I want to kind of get down and look at this and look at the velocity just a little bit. So right here through Cherry Valley, what we're looking at are these inflow notches. So we had a little while ago where we had maybe more of a well-defined kind of circulation embedded within this. But what we're seeing is more of a broad kind of look to it. However, looking at the radar signature itself and the fact that Joey did have, with that shelf cloud coming through, we had a funnel and then a possible tornado that did touch down. It was a little hard to see if it actually did reach the ground or if it just remained suspended with that funnel cloud in itself. But right along here, so from Guilford Road right down through Sandy Hollow, through Blackhawk, through Mulford Road, anywhere along this line you could potentially have some very strong winds. So Cherry Valley, you're looking right down Cherry Valley Road. Let's take this zoom out just a little bit, because we also are looking at the potential here for some strong straight line winds as we get into DeKalb County. Now this has caught my attention just a little bit, that we're zoomed out just a bit. Southeast here of Monroe Center, south of Fairdale. This is just to the north here of Esmond, and I know that Esmond in particular yesterday with the storms, because we had a line of thunderstorms that came through yesterday that did produce some damage yesterday as that line came through. So this is where the area that we're looking at here in northwest DeKalb County, right where Jordan is circling here, where we see some of that broad rotation. So as we've been mentioning, it is possible that we could see these quick spin up tornadoes, but they are going to be rain wrapped. You may not necessarily be able to see them. They will be quick, they will be fast moving, they may lift, but within this line itself, you are still going to get some fairly destructive winds as well. Now it looks like we have trimmed up that tornado warning to take out now Rockford. So let's zoom this out a little bit, because I want to call out some of the areas that are now in the clear, because that is important as well. So we flip back over to our reflectivity, and this is what I want to point out here. So Rockford, we've got some really heavy rain. Same thing up through Loves Park and McChesney Park and up through Roscoe and Rockton. We've got some really heavy rain, but that's what we're dealing with right now. The area that we are concerned with and that we're watching for the potential here for, one, those winds, but then two, that quick spin up tornado are going to be out ahead of this line. So where we see these bowing and surging structures here and where we see these little notches, so it's out ahead of this line. So notice here we've got a little more of a bowing structure. So this is moving in towards the Esmond area. This is south of Fairdale. This is going to be south of the Kirkland area. So this is riding right along here through central and northern DeKalb County. You also have a severe thunderstorm warning that outlines DeKalb County. Same thing here for Boone County. Now it looks like both the tornado warning, at least for the immediate Rockford area, as well as that severe thunderstorm warning, have been canceled. You go a little further west, our neighbors out here in Stevenson County. So Freeport, I know we had a lot of concerns with this. Same thing with Ogle County too. We are in the clear with this. What we're watching is this line of thunderstorms. Now I did have our SkyTrack camera pointed at the Poplar Grove Airport to get a view of that shelf cloud. I was a little slow getting there, but this is what we see. You've got that shelf cloud coming through, and then you're going to have this wall of rain that comes in. So that's why we say with these embedded circulations, you don't necessarily have a good visual of where we have as far as maybe a quick spin up, but nonetheless you've got some winds coming in. And again, right here from that 20 to 90 kind of interchange right over southeastern Winnebago County, new radar scan came in. So here we are in Boone County, north of Irene, southwest of Belvedere. That tornado warning remains in effect. So you've got this broad rotation. So if you are anywhere within this area, you want to make sure that you are seeking shelter with this. So this may pose more of a wind threat, but if we see that kind of hook out or surge a little more, you could get potentially maybe a little more spin with this. We also have some surging winds that are down here through DeKalb County, and these are all moving to the east. Again, we've got a tornado warning that remains in effect for DeKalb County as well as for Boone County, and that warning will run until 8:45, so that's for another 25 minutes. Rockford, we are out of the worst of it. New Milford, you are out of the worst of it as well. We're keeping an eye here on that little notch north of Irene, southwest of Belvedere, and then back down through here, more of this wind looking structure as this rides right along 72. You've got 64 down here. So we are going to be nearing fairly soon 23 that comes down out of Genoa. So if you are in Genoa, Kingston, or at the Kirkland area, you need to make sure that you are in your basement. If you don't have a basement, it's the lowest level of your home. Interior room, you want to put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. But these are the areas that we are most concerned with as far as the wind, along with that potential for a quick spin up tornado, which is why we do see that tornado warning that still does remain in effect. I think you've gotten some information that has come in, Jordan, so I want to check back in with you.
Sure, yeah. We did get a report from our weather chat that there was fire department rescue had reported some thunderstorm wind damage 3 miles east of Winnebago, so likely very close to actually our TV station, which is probably a good reason then that we ended up taking the shelter. In addition to that, an official observed wind gust at the Rockford Airport briefly was 64 miles per hour. So an observed wind gust in the Rockford area of 64 miles per hour, which is considered damaging wind gusts as well as that potential. And that's at that threshold for a severe thunderstorm, hence why they ended up issuing the severe thunderstorm warnings. And obviously we do have these also embedded circulations in addition to that we have those tornado warnings in place. One other thing that I also would like to note is that we have seen come back into play is once again similar to the last 2 nights in a row, we have a flash flood warning that has also been issued for a small portion of Winnebago County. This is along the exact same lines of Winnebago County that has seen the very heavy rain the last 2 nights in a row, and luckily this time around we've at least seen that in a shorter corridor. It's not lasting as long, but nonetheless torrential rainfall in a short amount of time has allowed that flash flood warning to at least be put into place. That flash flood warning does include downtown Rockford as well as southeast Rockford all the way down to bypass 20 and over to the Winnebago-Boone County lines. Flash flood warning there remains in effect still until 11:15 tonight. Rainfall rates producing up to around 1 inch per hour. Rainfall up to 1 inch is possible, as we're only expecting rain in a narrow corridor, as I mentioned, as far as time is concerned, but nonetheless, that possibility of a flash flood to occur is very likely even with these shorter and lower amounts of rainfall, just given the amount of rain that we had over the last couple of days. And I'm also keeping tabs on our National Weather Service chat as well if we continue to see anything else. As far as information, it looks like the Belvedere Fire Department had reported a funnel cloud at 6th Street and Whitney in Belvedere. So this is likely along that circulation and along these paths of circulation that we've really seen through many spots. So I'll take us back to our velocity now. Once we take a little peek at that, see our velocity scans here. It looks like we've at least gotten some new ones in, and it doesn't look like there's anything too pressing and too significant in the immediate term, but nonetheless, this whole line at least having some of these jagged edges to it, at least the possibility of producing a tornado in the shorter term, as we are potentially seeing some of those spin-ups still being able to take place.
Yeah, if we could kind of go down a little bit here on the southeast end of Belvedere and kind of zoom in on that to kind of look as far as any, circulations. You've got some very broad rotations. So you've got maybe, as Jordan mentioned, that funnel cloud potential there with that. So that's just on the southeast end here of Belvedere. I also want to go down a little bit here into Creston, which is down in western DeKalb County near the DeKalb Ogle County line. We'll keep going down just a little bit further. It's right along 64 here. So we'll scroll up just a bit and kind of zoom in into this area. So we've got 64. So here's Mayfield, and then it's not showing up on here, but you've got Malta, and then you've got Creston as well. This kind of wind surge that we're looking at out through here also is a little bit concerning too. So as this is kind of approaching here to the east and moving right along 64, we've had some reports of maybe a possible tornado down in that direction. So this is nearing 5 points right down that north-south road, 5 points here right along 64, and then this is potentially going to be moving in towards the Sycamore area too. So again, this is an area that does have rotation, or at least the tornado warning with it, I should say, and you're also going to have some very strong winds. Now, zooming out just a bit, we are able to see that the tornado warning that we had for Winnebago County, I noticed a lot of people kind of commenting, is it safe to come out of our shelter here as we continue this coverage on our Eyewitness News Facebook page, wondering, is it safe to come out now from our basement? Yes, it is. So the worst part of the storm is stretching from just to the east of Poplar Grove down east of Belvedere, and I would say here just east of Irene, and then right down into northern DeKalb County. So right in through here, the Kingston area. So this is right along 72. You've got Genoa Road that hooks up to the northwest of here. You're also looking at Mayfield. This is 64. So anywhere along this where we see these little surges, or perhaps, and this one actually, I don't know if you want to look a little bit more at this east of Kirkland, kind of a little more circulation potential with that too.
Yeah, we'll take a little bit of a closer look at that one now. We're still seeing at least that potential circulation, as you had pointed out. Now, this looks to be really embedded within the line, because our main edge of those storms out very, very close to Kingston right now, but this is almost embedded within that line, where we do see still some of this broad rotation even within this wall of greens, which indicates we have wind going toward the radar. We still have some pockets of blue, which is indicating higher winds, and then we have pockets of red, which is indicating a different direction in those winds. So we do at least have what appears to be some very broad rotation in between the Franklin and Kingston areas. This is along Highway 73, as we've been mentioning, just to the south of Colvin Park. And now I wanted to mention this is very embedded within that line, so if you are going out and you're trying to get a view of this, you're not going to be able to see anything very easily, as it is well behind a line of wind, a line of rain, and you're not going to be able to see anything, especially with it being as embedded as far back as it is. In addition to that, we also have a lot of this stronger wind that's been showing up. We've been seeing some of these wind surges, and I do want to at least take a look at what our radar might be sampling here with these winds just south and southwest of Kingston. So let's turn off our boxes for our warnings here. We'll take a little bit of a closer look at that, and just seeing what our wind might be potentially picking up. And it looks like it does appear that it's picking up around 72 miles per hour for some of these winds in this pocket just southeast of Franklin and southeast of Kingston. Again, the severe thunderstorm warning still out, and the tornado warning still out for a little bit longer, but it is appearing that we have the potential, at least elevated, some of these damaging winds. A matter of still how much of that is necessarily reaching the surface, but it is capable of bringing some of those damaging damaging winds down to the ground, and that might be the potential that we see for any of those stronger winds, as well as that potential for any spin-up tornadoes. We still have a lot of these lines of circulation that are also showing up along southern Boone County into northern DeKalb County. This is all south of Belvedere, close to Franklin, along, as I mentioned, 72. And then we have all of this line that is at least out there surging for those winds and the potential for embedded circulations within there as well. So that tornado warning still runs a little bit longer here into the evening. Tornado warning there for northern DeKalb County at least runs until 8:45 tonight. The tornado warning for Boone County still runs until 8:30 tonight. So still a little bit longer to go for both of those warnings, at least the Boone County warning. It does look like, I'll see if they're intending to cancel that warning or expire that warning. I haven't seen anything about that any one way or another, but at least looks like the Boone County warning still remains in effect here, at least in the shorter term. Nonetheless, we still have that potential for a brief spin-up tornado almost along this entire line, as we've been pointing out. I want to take at least once again another little bit of a closer look along northern DeKalb County. Candace, if you want to point out some of those circulations, and I'll highlight them for you here.
Yeah, you know, we've been kind of monitoring those, as Jordan had mentioned, looking at these just to the southwest here of Genoa. So this is approaching 23. You also have got a little bit of an embedded circulation just to the west and northwest here of Genoa itself. So this is north of Kingston and right around just to the north there of Kingston, south of the Boone and DeKalb County line. So within this, you're going to have not only some stronger winds associated with that, but also that potential for maybe a quick spin-up tornado or two. So you're looking right up here through Genoa Road as that gets a little bit further there into Boone County. I want to go a little further down to the south. I misspoke earlier, so my apologies to that. Creston Malta along 38, not along 64. I knew that. I lived in Creston for the longest time while I was going down to NIU, so I apologize for that. So 38 is here south of 64. So again, my apologies for that as you travel into DeKalb County. But what we're also looking at, I want to go a little further south because there was something down in DeKalb that did again catch my attention. You've got a little more of a notch and an inflow here with that. So from 23, you've got 38 here. Here is 88. So approaching the Cortland area as we get a little bit further into DeKalb County. So again, a little more of that broader circulation. Thankfully, we have not had any additional reports come in. So far, we have not had, or that I have seen with this line as it's moved further to the east, any reports as far as wind gusts. I know Jordan had mentioned some winds that have been coming in, some 60 to 65 mile per hour wind gusts that have been coming through. So we are going to continue to monitor that as well as this storm eventually moves out of the viewing area. But you may also have some stronger winds, and it looks like they did issue the tornado warning a little further east outside of the area. So this is for Keene County, and then we also have McHenry County too. For folks wondering, in Rockford, in Belvedere, in Beloit, you're wondering, are you in the clear with respect to maybe coming out of your safe place? I saw some of those comments on there as well. Yes, you are. So the areas that we are more concerned with along this leading edge, and it looks like they just trimmed back that warning here for DeKalb County. So now northwest DeKalb County not considered in that tornado warning anymore. So this does include you in the Fairdale area, Kirkland area too. So this is for Kingston, Genoa as this moves further to the east. We also have that tornado warning for southwest portions here of McHenry County, and that is going to be for what we see as far as a little notch that is developing right near the DeKalb, Winnebago and McHenry, or DeKalb, excuse me, Boone and McHenry County line. So you've got a little notch, but then along the leading edge here, you could potentially have some embedded straight line wind structures associated with that as well. So the tornado warning we saw for most of Boone County, which did include Belvedere, that has now been dropped. You guys are in the clear with that. Same thing with Rockford, same thing with Pecatonica, Freeport, Beloit as well as far as any significant wind. Now, I do see we still have a severe thunderstorm warning out for southern Wisconsin, but that tornado warning that we had in northern Rock County, that has been long expired, although still keeping an eye on this little notch feature here as that continues to surge off to the east. So this is just to the east of Janesville, and again, we're kind of looking at some maybe a little more of a bookend kind of development here on the northern fringe of that with that severe thunderstorm warning. So again, as these storms are moving to the east and southeast, how long did that warning go for the Rock and Walworth County?
The Rock and Walworth County severe thunderstorm warning still runs until 9:15 p.m. tonight, and that storm capable of 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, and it is moving off to the east at 40 miles per hour. So it's a little bit lower than the severe thunderstorm warning that they had earlier when they were up to 70 miles per hour for that potential. Let's see if they did include a tornado possible tag within that, and so this probably most of these severe thunderstorm warnings likely have that possible tag, as we still have a lot of low-level shear, which is allowing for some of these little quick spin-ups to occur within some of these ends of these storms. And we still have, as we had been kind of starting to point out, just on the eastern side of Janesville, that potential for at least a little bit of a circulation here, just on the east side of Janesville, as I mentioned, north of Emerald Grove. This is close to Johnstown, just north of Highway 14 and south of Highway 55. This is also to the east of Janesville, as I had mentioned, but is well west, at least at this present time, of Highway 89. If there is an embedded circulation within there, it would at least be the potential to produce a tornado, as they have that tornado possible tag on that severe thunderstorm warning. And it does look like we have a new severe thunderstorm warning that had been issued that now encompasses much of Boone County, as well as over into most of DeKalb County and McHenry County as well. That severe thunderstorm warning still runs until, let's see, the brand new one runs until 9:15 tonight. That severe thunderstorm warning is out for 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts, the storm moving to the east at 45 miles per hour.
Yeah, here's just the warning for that came out for DeKalb, McHenry, and Boone counties, the severe thunderstorm warning. The tornado warning for northeastern DeKalb County will remain in effect until 8:45. A severe squall line capable of producing both tornadoes and extensive straight line wind damage located over Genoa, currently moving to the east now at 35 miles per hour. So let's head back over to our reflectivity with this, so we can kind of get a storm track on this, as that's moving to the east at 35 miles per hour. So Genoa still included in that tornado warning. Same thing with Kingston here too, as well as southwest McHenry County and a far southeast portion of Boone County. Already the rain has really lightened up here at the station from what it was earlier, so it's quick in and out with it. So it did pack a little bit of a punch. And as I mentioned before, as this storm was out over northwest Illinois, we had some really strong winds associated with that as it was moving over portions of Joe Davis County as well as for Stevenson County. But this is all moving off to the east. So if it were to hold together, we are looking at Marengo here just a little before. Actually, right now that storm is pretty much on top of you. Hampshire just a little before 8:50. Same thing with Woodstock in McHenry County, and then Elgin, which is out in Kane County, outside of our area. But we're still noticing some of these circulations. I also want to draw attention to the fact that we do have a flash flood warning out for portions of Winnebago County, and that is again in an area where we had numerous flash flood warnings and rainfall in some places over the span of the last couple of days that have added up to 10 inches. So from Saturday night, from what we had on Sunday night, and then again what we're adding on top of here, what we've gone through tonight. The heaviest of the rain has moved out, but we've had rainfall rates of at least an inch per hour. So again, when you've got a lot of rain that has come down, your ground is already saturated, so it does not take much to cause some issues with flash flooding. I do want to hang on to this warning through DeKalb County as well as for McHenry County just a little bit longer, at least until the portion is moving out of DeKalb County here and through, moving out of McHenry County. What we'll do is we'll continue this because we are getting close to the 9 o'clock hour. So our newscast over on Fox will begin at 9 o'clock. So we'll touch more on this. But if we can go back to our reflectivity here, the storms have kind of slowed down a little bit. We've had winds that have been roughly from, the speed or the momentum of the storms anywhere from 35 up to 40 to even 55 miles per hour. So this line is moving to the east now at 35 miles per hour. You've got a little more of a surge in the wind here just to the east and northeast of Sycamore. And then looks like maybe perhaps some embedded circulations just to the southeast of Genoa. This is to the east here of 23. This is getting into eastern DeKalb County. And then just to the northeast of Maple Park. You also have a little bit of a notch here too, not necessarily in that warning. Maple Park is not in that warning, but they've trimmed that up to include more of central and northern DeKalb County. But yeah, looking at this, it looks like we have a little more of that circulation that is starting to take place. So this is going to be south of 72, right here east of 23, and then perhaps maybe some gustier winds there moving just to the south of Genoa itself. But eventually this is all going to be moving into Kane County. We've got the heavy rain that comes in behind that as well. And the warnings that we see with this, the warnings are dropped back further to the west. So that is some good news. So the areas that we have here of concern now are stretching from eastern DeKalb County all the way up through southwest McHenry County. And we've got quite a few of these little notches, and I think this one just to the southeast of DeKalb County is a little more prominent than some of the ones that southeast, of Genoa is a little more prominent from what we're seeing as far as a radar and reflectivity structure with that. But where you've got these surges and our reflectivity, so it almost looks like it's surging out here, you're going to have some stronger winds associated with that, and then that is going to follow in with the heavier rainfall as well.
And one thing I also want to note when we're going back to our flash flood warning in Rockford is that there is a spotter report of near 11th Street and Sandy Hollow area has standing water near the Schnucks over that direction. The trained spotter that had repeated that back to the National Weather Service as well, and that they said the standing water there was approximately up to the rims of the car. So hopefully not seeing as much of the deep water that we had the last couple of days, but nonetheless still that potential for some flash flooding to have occurred even in some of those same areas that had picked up a lot of very heavy rain. Now the one good thing about this is that the rain is not lasting nearly as long as it did the last 2 nights, but nonetheless, even with how saturated the ground is, even 1 quick inch of rain in a matter of 30 or 45 minutes can induce once again that flash flooding that we then now continue to see with that flash flood warning that has also been issued. And it does look like with that circulation near Maple Park, I know this is now crossing over into Kane County, but they did issue a tornado warning out into Kane County with that circulation. Now, Candace had been mentioning a lot of these surges coming out, and if we have any one of those surges that ends up going out a little bit quicker than another one, that's what can cause some of these little embedded circulations within. And we also want to note that just to the east of Sycamore, we are seeing some of these really dark blue colors starting to show up on radar as well, which is indicating the potential for even some much stronger winds. Now, this is still estimating those winds a little bit higher up in the atmosphere with that potential from the radar scan, but nonetheless, taking that into consideration, we are at least seeing that potential for some of these stronger wind gusts up to 80, potentially 90 up to 80 miles per hour within this little line here that's just to the east of Sycamore, getting ready now to cross over into Kane County, it appears, at least with that potential for some of those stronger winds. And even with that newer radar scan, it does not show it nearly as prominently, but we are still seeing, as we had been talking about, some of these embedded circulations. We're starting to see some of these stronger winds being pushed out out ahead of that storm, and that's where we're starting to see at least a few of those embedded circulations, along with that potential for still some damaging winds. So we are going to run down some of our warnings that we still have in place. Most of these have now extended to most of our eastern counties, but we're going to look and see at least with what our warnings remain in effect for, and we can still, as we've been trying to do throughout this time, call out some locations that are at least in the clear as far as severe weather goes. So starting up to our north, we still have a severe thunderstorm warning that's out for portions of Rock into Walworth County. That severe thunderstorm warning still runs here a little bit longer until, let's see, that one runs still until 9:15 p.m. for this severe thunderstorm warning that's in southern Wisconsin that includes Rock into Walworth County. That one runs until 9:15 tonight. Down to the south, the severe thunderstorm warning that is out for portions of Boone into McHenry as well as much of DeKalb County also runs until 9:15 tonight, and that one is out for 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts as well as these embedded circulations with that potential for some of those tornadoes. In addition to that, we do have those tornado warnings, as I had been mentioning, and then down to the south, we have another severe thunderstorm warning that is out for southern DeKalb County, as well as just a small portion here of Lee County, and that severe thunderstorm warning also runs until 9:15 tonight, and that storm also capable of producing those 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts. So all of these storms capable of producing anywhere between 60 to 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts, and this whole line of storms, at least at this present time, all of our severe thunderstorm warnings are set to expire at 9:15 tonight. But we are also keeping a closer eye on those embedded circulations and with those tornado warnings as well. So Candace, take us through a little bit more of what we are seeing within those.
Yeah, so within some of these severe thunderstorm warnings, as far as some of those embedded circulations, looks like we have that tornado warning that was for northeast DeKalb County that has, been allowed to, it's been dropped, so it's been canceled. So that is some good news. Same thing there for southeastern portions of Boone County. That is also some good news. So right now that severe thunderstorm warning as well as the tornado warning remains in effect for southwest McHenry County. So we're starting to see the worst part of the storm move out of DeKalb County. There is still going to be some pretty heavy rain back behind that, along with some frequent lightning too. The one area that we are concerned with, perhaps a little more of this notch just to the east of Genoa as this enters into northwest King County, right through Hampshire, Burlington as well, and then moving a little further north in southwest and southern portions of McHenry County. Marengo is not included in that. I know there were a couple of folks saying that the sirens were going off in Marengo. The tornado warning, you're not in that tornado warning. It is just to the south of you, so southern portions here, right along where 20 kind of works south of Marengo there in southern McHenry County. But what we are going to do, it is now 8:46, so we are going to sign off here on air. We are going to keep our Facebook, our Eyewitness News Facebook page going just a little bit longer before our 9 o'clock newscast. But as we go through the next 20-30 minutes or so, DeKalb will be out of the worst of it. We're still monitoring here in southern McHenry County. So if you are still in that tornado warning, you need to make sure that you are taking your tornado precautions with that. Thank you guys so much for sticking with us here as these thunderstorms moved through. As I mentioned, we continue our coverage on our Eyewitness News Facebook page, but for now, we're going to return you back to regular programming. All right, so for those that are still with us on our Facebook page, just wanted to kind of give you a little bit of a rundown for some folks. I know I had some people wondering about Rockford, Belvedere. Sirens were going off there in Marengo. The worst part of this is crossing over the DeKalb Kane County line and then moving into southern portions and southwest portions here of McHenry County. So this is just to the south of Marengo in McHenry County. So fairly soon this will continue to move off to the east. Rockford, as far as any severe weather, we are done with that. The worst part of the storm in Wisconsin is moving through Walworth County currently. Still kind of monitoring the potential for some gustier winds up there as well. So let me just kind of do a little zoom in here for you guys as we look through this. So I know they noted kind of the area that they're monitoring as far as the rotation is right through the Hampshire area down through Burlington. So that is north and south there of 72. Okay. And then up to the north as well. Looks like they did just cancel that tornado warning for McHenry County. So that is some good news. Right now, the only tornado warnings we do have in effect are currently for Kane County, which is outside of the area. We still do have a severe thunderstorm warning out for DeKalb County as well as for McHenry County, and that warning will run until and Boone County too, although the worst of that storm is off to your east. So the worst part of that is moving off to the east. You've got 70-mile-per-hour winds associated with that. That storm is moving off to the east now at 45 miles per hour. We are slowly starting to see some reports begin to trickle in as far as some damage, particularly where we've had some areas of that rotation that had been noted over Winnebago County. So we are going to look to see if we can get some more information on that, perhaps send some folks out to that as well, because that is not too far here from where the station is, just to the south and then off to the southwest. Or southeast, I think.
You had noted some of those ones that I was just getting ready to write a note about to you as well. The trees and power lines down across the southern part of Winnebago County from along south of Route 20 down toward Meridian Road, toward Perryville Road. So it does appear that that wind surge likely occurred mostly along that southern end of Winnebago County, which is very, very close to where we had seen a lot of those embedded circulations also that were going through. And so that was more than likely at least some potential damage along some of those edges. So doesn't really take too much more of us to say, but these storms have had history of producing damage. So if you are still out ahead of these storms and you haven't seen any of those storms reaching you just yet, just know that these storms have had a history of producing damage, and they are still severe warned across that entire line from southern Wisconsin all the way down to the bottom of our northern Illinois counties.
All right, so with that, we are going to get ready here for our 9 o'clock newscast on Fox 39, and then we will have much more at 10 o'clock as well. If you do have any reports of any damage, when it is safe to do so, you can share that information with us as far as any rainfall amounts or perhaps any damage from the storms as they moved through. But to run down these warnings that we have once again, we have a severe thunderstorm warning out for Rock County and Walworth County until 9:15. We have a severe thunderstorm warning for Boone County, McHenry County, and DeKalb County, and that warning will run until 9:15 as well. So it's also important to note too, now this is more along the leading edge where we do see the tornado warnings, that all of these warnings have a tornado tag on them, meaning that they are capable and it is possible to see these kind of spin ups, which is exactly what we've had with these. So if you are still under that severe thunderstorm warning, you want to stay in your severe weather precautions until that storm has passed through. So Janesville and Beloit. The worst part of the storm is now, especially for Beloit to your east. Janesville, you are just right on the outer fringe of that. Geneva, Lake Geneva, out through Elkhorn, you are not. So you need to make sure that you are still taking those precautions. And then through McHenry County, so from Woodstock down through Huntley, from Algonquin to Crystal Lake to McHenry in eastern McHenry County, and then with those tornado warnings now in Kane County, northern and central Kane County. You've got heavy rain from Kingston down through DeKalb, through Waterman as well. So we're going to look a little bit closer at some of these reports, and you can follow us as we begin our newscast over on Fox 39. Again, thank you so much for staying with us here this evening, for the information that you provided in the comments. We greatly appreciate that, and we will have much more for you here in just under 5 minutes.